from the federal government.
Yes, you do.
To Donald Trump and
Yes,
Kristi
you
Noem,
do.
You've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've
need
issued
a lot
warning
more.
order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community, they're business owners, they're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Bob Jacobson.
That's right. He's going to use National Guard against ICE. I mean, if he did that, that would make everything so much easier.
Thank you, Governor.
All right, second Baldy. Let's go.
As the Governor mentioned, my name is Bob Jacobson. It is my honor to serve as the Commissioner.
Be very convenient.
Department of Public Safety. First of all, I want to acknowledge the reason that we are all here. The loss of life is not anything anyone would ever want.
And that's why you don't.
We fully expect that the community will want to peacefully demonstrate their anger or frustration.
Yeah.
Minnesota residents and visitors have the right to peacefully demonstrate. We recognize that demonstrations are often driven by strong emotions, beliefs, and certainly a desire to be heard.
Yeah.
Our role is to help ensure everyone can express themselves without anyone getting hurt. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety's role through the Minnesota State Patrol is to ensure safety, protect constitutional rights, keep roads accessible, and above all, to prevent harm. Our top priority is public safety. Our focus is keeping demonstrators, community members, drivers, and law enforcement safe, especially during moments of heightened tension or uncertainty. Demonstrations must remain safe and lawful, particularly around road noise.
I wonder if people are going to get mad.
We will join with our partners to support safety while respecting the right to protest.
I thought people were going to get mad.
With that in mind, I'd like to share a few safe and lawful ways to demonstrate.
Tweeting.
Minnesota can safely and legally express their views in many ways.
Burning up a car.
Including getting together with others, Facebook, marching and walking,
police officers,
not on road roads, making your voice heard in chants, speeches, and displaying signs, being present in public areas where pedestrians are allowed, gathering in designated or permitted areas. And these actions will allow people to express themselves while protecting the safety of everyone involved. Unsafe or illegal actions could result in fines or arrests. Certain behaviors create serious hazards that threaten public safety, disrupt emergency services, or put people at risk. These actions could result in fines or arrest. Demonstrating on or entering a freeway on foot, walking on highways, throwing objects, starting or setting fires, damaging property or speeding, using illegal fireworks, displaying or using illegal weapons, reckless or dangerous driving, especially near pedestrians, and certainly assaultive, aggressive, riotous behavior toward anyone. We all want definitive answers to what happened today. Our Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is working in conjunction with the FBI to investigate this morning's shooting.
Well, they don't need to invest. Yeah, she's already dead.
We don't comment on active investigations. But also keep in mind that this is an investigation of also in its infancy. So any speculation about what had happened will be just that. And we will not engage in speculation. With that, I'll turn it back to
They know that. They do. They know this.
Yeah, and I just I'll let General Schaefer talk about this. It just so happens it's a training weekend. We've got about 7,500 troops in training at our site across the state. What it is in the National Guard to give a warning order, which is a heads up of something could be coming. That just allows people to think about what they would do, what it would mean to mobilize, what it would mean to put them in. And I can let the General talk a little bit about this. Obviously, since
I wonder if my hair is going to turn into that.
We had a lot of work done to be ready to make sure that civil unrest. What that means, and I think Mr. Jacobson is very very clear.
Holy.
I want Minnesotans to hear this from me. The desire to get out and protest and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is,
Yeah.
that is a patriotic duty. At
Keep
this
doing
point in
it.
time.
By the eye of Agamotto!
Laid out
Sure.
parameters we can do that. This is the peaceful resistance that we need. Simon, you'll say from Rico what that means to have them on the range.
The National Guard.
So in military, Minnesota National Guard is comprised of 13,000 soldiers and airmen living all across and work throughout Minnesota. A warning order is just an initial step to increase your preparations. The Minnesota Guard is always prepared to respond and support state agencies and the citizens of Minnesota. So what that means for us today is just some additional checks on equipment that are ready all.
You notice it says U.S. Army? Yeah, it says U.S. Army.
To service members who
But
may
like-
not be activated, but nothing.
Not Minnesota.
No activations. We are embedded with our state agencies here at the operations center to just continue parallel planning in the event that we are needed to support.
If the Minnesotans on this about the National Guard, they're there. These are our neighbors. They don't wear masks. They don't trust them somewhere else. They're not here to cause havoc or tragedy.
Yeah, they're worried about it.
Yeah, sure, because when we see these types of things happening, we saw it.
Because if they lose control, Trump will go in and
There's folks that want
stop
to
them. That's why they're saying this.
protest where people expressing their First Amendment rights. There were those that destroyed property for people at risk. The National Guard is there to make sure that peaceful protests are able to be done, and that those that want to do the destruction are stopped from doing that.
I don't know what she's saying. Be quiet.
By the eye of Agamotto!
Yeah, well, and I think apparently by the federal agents, not by Minnesotans who were there to express their First Amendment right. I think
First Amendment right is a car.
ready to gather.
SUVs are as a First Amendment.
Shocks everyone. Showed up as they did. There's people putting flowers down on a memorial. There's people expressing their anger. It's just as the situation develops in this side.
You're in the car.
Yeah, I think the local reporters are well on. Both unfortunately and for us, the upside of this is that we're very good and we've had practice. And I just want to, again, implore Minnesotans, I am not telling you not to express your anger or your
He does not want them to crack down. He's so
outrage that we
scared.
have. Look, this was totally predictable.
He's so scared.
Totally avoidable. And I just want to remind you too that local
Follow the orders.
we get no coordination. They don't tell us. They don't say like the largest deployment in American history to Minneapolis. They're not making it safer.
Can you
We
guess
don't
why?
have that coordination. They should be talking to us when we do these things. Let us know. We're going to be down here. This is going to happen. We don't
Because
have
he won't cooperate, and you try to sabotage them.
control, or if it's
That's why.
take the National Guard. We're there responding to the chaos they've created too, but our role obviously to make sure that we're protecting the Minnesotans so that something like this doesn't happen. I have not. The question was, have I spoken to the individual's family? No, we do not have a definitive
Don't know who it
ID
is.
on this individual. And I look, I'm going to note well with you. I think it's really important, and the professionals do this, and they train me to do this. This is an open investigation. You need to be very careful about it. I know that many of you, myself included, have seen a very difficult video to watch. One where there's a family member watching
This place is worth a good look.
their family member
I
be
heard
shot and
over
killed
here.
in front of them.
Should have told her to follow the police.
It's beyond me that apparently from the federal government, from the Homeland Security itself, has already determined who this person was, what their motive was, and they hadn't even been taken out of the vehicle.
Well, yeah, it's pretty obvious. Just see the video.
We're not living in a normal world. And so, no, I have not. And I want to be very careful because I know how painful this is. I know how painful it is right now. I'm saying person and all that. This is obvious. An individual child, a parent, and we don't know that yet. So, no, I have not. But
By the eye of Agamotto!
Her points are from Missouri. Is that it?
The clock will call you cowards if you do not attack.
You don't think ICE is partially at fault for escalating? No. You follow the police orders. You want any problem? pretty simple. Just do what they tell you to do.
10 seconds.
A portal.
So the question was, how many are in Minneapolis? Right now, we don't talk numbers because that is considered security information. We have a specialized team that does deal with crowd control, and so they have been deployed in there from all over the state of Minnesota. So they will come in.
Anyone willing to help?
No, it was in response to this event.
Some help.
It's hard to even see what they're saying.
Hands are shaking again. Focus.
It's kind of annoying.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
I'm sorry. What was Well, I said this yesterday. We've never been at war with our federal government. I think in this case, the National Guard is their main mission. They have a dual mission. There's the federal mission when they're under Title 10 orders, and then they're under Title 32 orders. In this warning order, there's nothing officially been done yet. If I am to activate
Not yet.
as the Commander-in-Chief of the Minnesota National Guard, I will issue the executive order to the Minnesota National Guard, and then they will be put in state duty status. And as you've seen over the last few years, that could be flood prevention. That could be after a wind blowing storm up in the north, up in Bemidji, or
Insurrection
it could
Act
be
time.
COVID or George Floyd response. In this
Yeah,
case,
remember
again,
that?
it doesn't necessarily change the mission. They're there to protect Minnesotans. They're there to serve Minnesotans. I
Pick your
think the
hero
thing that is
or
so
villain. I'm not
challenging
judging.
in the moment we're in is
Make
we
way
don't
for the
see
king
a
of
desire to
teams.
work with us on public safety. We hear a demonization of our state. We see
Yeah.
people coming in who don't know our community. And
They don't
we see
understand.
this
The scams are
massive
normal here.
display for the TVs that we're trying to understand how
Yeah.
is this coordinated.
This
And
is-
some of you watch
they don't
the
get
videos
it.
on there. Total chaos. And look, I have very limited work in this.
Yeah.
Is the training in the National Guard, but I've had a lot of training now to watch how our professionals operate. After the person was shot, federal agents milling around, touching the vehicle at a crime scene and things. I don't know what to tell you. And
30
I
seconds
don't
before
Oh,
you
that's
attack.
the problem.
Get ready.
Right.
Question other than my primary responsibility as governor to protect
Yeah.
the people of Minnesota, and you can be assured whether it's the state patrol or whether it's the National Guard, their deployment is there to protect Minnesotans from whatever it is. If it's an act of nature, if it's a global pandemic, or in this case, if it is a rogue
4,
federal agent.
3,
I don't know at this time, and I want to be very careful.
all you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Unprecedented.
Yeah,
that we
you-
have the federal
Oh,
government
man.
knows exactly what's happened here and the motives of an individual.
Oh, man,
They don't know
he's
the name.
really-
They don't know the name, and that's very difficult. So, well, one more, Dana. Dana.
See, I tried to tell you guys this shit was gonna happen. You can see he realized he shouldn't have said that, and he tried to walk it back. Yeah, you should not have said that. These dudes now be talking microphones? Yeah.
Look, and I understand.
It's over. It is.
Moment.
It's over.
This week, following this week, seeing what's happening in the backdrop of a show here in D.C. My job is to govern. My job is to see what the facts are. This happened a couple of hours ago, and we're already pitting American against American. All of you saw it in your eyes. We have a chaotic situation caused by the largest deployment in American history of federal
Oh, not caused by her trying to run away and run over an officer in the process? No, it's not her fault at all.
in their car, shot and killed. And so,
That's right.
look, I want to be very cautious here because
They should make Nick Shirley the new governor of Minnesota.
people make this about
Yeah, they should just do that.
this is about public safety and this about normalcy. So Americans who are watching this, if you're in Portland or you're in LA or you're in Chicago or you're wherever they're coming next, stand with us. Stand with us against this. This is so
Stand with us. Please agree with us.
so preventable.
Yeah,
So
well,
unnecessary.
you're right. All she had to do was get out of the car. That's all she had.
Maybe we're at the McCarthy moment. Do you have no decency? Do you have we have someone dead in
Yeah.
the car for no reason whatsoever.
Total emotional manipulation.
And I don't want to be right about this, but I said if they do this, they're going to create a chaotic situation where someone innocent is going to get killed.
And it'll happen again.
And now we hear more
Yeah,
political
because of
rhetoric.
you.
Enough. Enough is enough. And so Minnesota.
Enough. Stop following the law.
Do not allow them to deploy federal troops into here. Do not allow them to deploy troops.
What a little
Do
kid.
not allow them to declare martial law.
Yeah, see, that's
Do
what
not
he's
allow
afraid
them
of.
to lie
I
about
am
the
ready to
security
put on a
of the
show.
state. And let this
That's what
You
you can see he's scared.
I encourage you to use your First Amendment rights and all of your constitutional rights to do so in a peaceful manner. We'll gather back with you as soon as we gather more information that needs to be put out. But again, stay safe, Minnesotans, and we'll be back with you.
Jesus Christ. Okay, there you go, right, guys? Why was there a massive deployment of agents? The reason why is because there was a bunch of fucking illegals and people that were in Minnesota that shouldn't be there. And the reason why they had the National Guard there is they said they were doing a training exercise and it just happened to happen at the same time. So yeah, there it is. Baldy crashing out, getting upset, getting mad. What a surprise. Are you getting paid by Trump? I think I should be, but no, I haven't gotten a check yet. And genuinely confused, how does America work like that? They can they even stop the federal government from entering? No, they can't. They can't do anything. The only thing they can do is sit there and cry about it. And that's all they're doing. They're sitting there, and you can see whenever the second Baldy came in, not this Baldy, the other one. This Baldy right here, you could see very clearly they are afraid of it there being a crash out, and then the crash out causing, basically Trump to come in with the military, which is, honestly, I feel like that would be a good thing, if you want me to be honest. Like, I think it would be a great thing. Like, they need to totally fucking, turn this place upside down. Like, it's completely out of their minds.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I want to start out by addressing the loss of life that we saw here in Minneapolis. Any loss of life is a tragedy, and I think all of us can agree that in this situation it was preventable. I've spoken to the president today on the situation here on the ground. I also just got off the phone a little while ago with Governor Walz and spoke to him as well. I want to reiterate first with all of you the facts of what happened today. At 10:25 a.m. Central Time,
Early in the
and
morning.
Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis. Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands.
Yep, she wouldn't do it. There it is. Many people don't speak up because talking logically to stupid people is never going to take a second to think. It's a waste of time and feels cringy. Yeah, I know. And also, you'll get attacked. You'll have people that threaten you, etc. The people that are against this are so insanely bloodthirsty and violent. It's crazy.
She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family.
So wait, so he was in a hospital?
But fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family. I encourage
If he was injured by this, I think that pretty much says a lot too, right? I mean, if she wasn't hitting him with the car, then why did he go to the hospital? I don't know if he was injured or not. I think they should say what happened to him if he was injured.
Ain't nobody stealing
the American people at this point in time to pray for him, but also to
Could be
pray for
procedure. Yeah, it could be procedure.
and her loved ones. Today alone in this country, there have been 4 different domestic terrorist attacks on federal officers by the ramming of vehicles. 3 of them happened here in Minneapolis.
If you have 3 domestic terror attacks in the same area inside of a place, at what point do you, I mean, 3 strikes, you're out. Like, how many of these attacks are you going to have until you recognize that there's very clearly a problem? This is what's so insane to me. 3 of them? Oh my God.
We've seen over 100 of these vehicle rammings happen in just recent weeks. ICE alone is facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats against all of them.
8,000%? I'm surprised it's so
low. The very same
low.
officer who was attacked today had previously been dragged by an anti-ICE rider who had rammed him with a car and drugged him back in June. He's...
Oh my God. How do you guys put up with this shit? Why are y'all putting up with this shit? You have to go after these people. These people are they're violent anarchist fucking psychos. Like, what are you doing?
Your team's captured.
Really, what are you doing about this? This is insane. This context adds a lot. Anybody who thought this wasn't the case is delusional.
sustained injuries at that time as well. And that's why we're all here in the city today and why we've been here. In communities across this country and here in Minneapolis, we're just enforcing the laws that we have in this country. For years under President Biden, tens of millions of dangerous criminal illegal aliens, terrorists, and suspected terrorists were allowed to invade our country over our southern border. They were allowed to steal, to defraud, and to perpetuate violence against American citizens.
Yep.
Regardless of who your mayor or who your governor is, President Trump promised every single American that he would make America safe again. He promised every single American that he
Somebody
would...
says it's possible the media is blowing this up to hide the Iran revolution. It is very weird and selective media coverage of that, isn't it? I find that to be incredibly odd.
work to protect them
Very
from
odd.
dangerous criminals. Since Governor Walz has been in charge of Minnesota, we have seen homicides go up by over 50%. That's also during their tenure as well.
Ain't ready for road to be
Wow,
a widow.
what a surprise. They don't want to arrest their voters. Wow, I can't believe that. That's a shock, isn't it? Oh my God.
Since President Trump took office, Governor Walz has released over 470 violent criminals back onto the streets.
Why would he do that?
He has another 680 of them still within his jurisdiction that he could give to us today to face the consequences for their crimes.
Why would he do that?
Because Governor Walz and Mayor Frey refuse to protect Minnesotans, and instead they protect these criminals, that's why we are here.
That's
And
right.
we didn't just show up yesterday, we've always been here. But we're surging operations because of the dangerous situation we see in this country, and because we're no longer going to allow illegal criminals to damage and harm, to kill, to sexually abuse, to proliferate drugs, and to steal American taxpayers' dollars.
It's also Americans that are doing this too. It's not just the illegals.
This state has faced unprecedented immigration fraud. It's seen unprecedented benefit fraud. Individuals were allowed to come into this country and set up fake companies and fake nonprofits and
Yep.
divert billions of dollars away from American citizens and those vulnerable citizens who truly needed the services from those programs. This city has burned before, and your mayor and your governor let it happen.
Yeah, y'all already fucked up before.
President Trump is not going to let that happen. He and our federal law enforcement officers are here to bring peace and to bring public safety and to
You'll
ensure
need a
that criminal
top-notch team to win
activity
this one.
is stopped and that people who perpetuate it will face consequences. Since we have been here in recent weeks, we have arrested over 1,500 criminals off of the streets.
That's a lot of people. Do you think explaining something so obvious is actually making an impact? I think it does. And also what it does is that for the undecided or the less hyper motivated and hyper radicalized people, they see the radicalized side of it, and they're like, wow, that's kind of weird. Damn, like, yeah, actually, you know what? That makes a lot more sense. So that's the reason why. But I think that overwhelmingly you are preaching to the choir. It's that, you know, like, I will have my group of people that are listening to me, and they're all going to
30
agree with
seconds before
me.
you attack.
Hassan will
Get
have
ready.
his group of people, Destiny, or whoever else. Mike from PA
Well,
has his group of
good
idiots that
looks,
listen to him.
business
That's
acumen.
just the way it is. Generally,
make
you're going
close
to
the
have
power
people that are in
couple.
your community that are already going to agree with you. But, you know, things do breach containment
another
regularly,
look.
and people that
Do
are not
you
familiar with
really
your content
want to
see it
ask that
also.
to me?
So, yeah.
So,
Law enforcement
Battle starts
has
in
arrested
5,
murderers,
4,
known and suspected
3,
terrorists,
2,
child pedophiles,
1.
and other brutal
Ready to
criminals
check
that will
Not
the
good.
here
available
in
area
this
and
city.
extract
We should all
some
work
goodies.
together
Let's
to protect
go.
our citizens. We should all protect the men and the women and the families who live here in Minneapolis, who live in Minnesota, and live throughout this entire country. I want to thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for focusing on the important work that our federal officers do and make sure that we're focused on the priorities of this country, and that's making sure that we're keeping people safe. With that, I'll take any questions.
Here we go.
I say that he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's very clear that this
Doesn't, yeah, exactly.
You're
individual
loading up
was
on
harassing and
resources.
impeding law enforcement operations. Our officer followed his training, did exactly what he's
Yep.
been taught to do
That's
in
what
that
he's talking
situation,
about, yeah.
and took actions to defend himself and defend his fellow law enforcement officers.
Yep.
Oh, we love you.
Oh, that's a great question.
The officer was hit by the vehicle. She hit him. He went to the hospital. A doctor did treat him. He has been released, but he's going to spend some time with his family. I can't, but the FBI will continue the investigation.
What was the question?
But he's going to spend some time with his family. I can't.
I don't see what it, what
So
should
the FBI will
clarify what? I don't know.
release more facts.
Yeah.
as appropriate.
Oh, yeah. Your team is ready to rumble, baby.
We're following the standard protocol
Why would he get fired?
procedures we do in situations like this. When there's an officer,
I'm gonna be honest. Like, if I was that guy, I'd quit. I'd be like, you know what? I already got dragged in like July, and now they're trying to run me over. Like, I mean, maybe he's like radicalized and mad, so he's like, oh, I'm definitely not gonna quit. But like, you can see a lot of people be like, you know what? I'm done. I'm out.
involved shooting, we make sure that we get the facts and that we are getting the statements from everybody involved and make sure that
Developing resistance. Yeah. Have ICE operations
No,
paused?
we're still out on the streets doing our work to get dangerous criminals off.
So you died for nothing. Yeah, there it is. And that's what's so stupid about this is that it doesn't matter what you do. It's not like you're gonna stop ICE from doing what they're gonna do. It didn't even do anything.
You know, Tim and I have known each other for years. We served in Congress together. We both ran for governor the same year and have served as governor at the same times. So we were colleagues, and we discussed what happened here today. We have two very
you'll
different
have my
viewpoints of it.
revenge for that.
I talked specifically about the fact that we have laws; they need to be enforced. He knows that I believe sanctuary policies have protected criminals and placed a priority of them over.
They have. They should just stop all federal funding to the sanctuary cities. Like if they don't want to get federal, if they don't want to follow the federal law, they shouldn't be getting federal aid.
Loading up on
the citizens that
resources.
live here, and he knows we'll continue to do our work,
Obviously.
and I encouraged him to work with us. We've never had a cooperative arrangement with law enforcement here. Whenever we've done
Isn't that convenient? Like where three people get run over, you've never had the enforcement. Do you think left will respect ICE more or attack them more to get attention? I think that there is a level of overwhelming force that ICE can have that will cause the protests and the violence to basically go away. There absolutely is like a critical mass of just overwhelming force that then people will say, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to, and you have to get to that point. That's what they should do is they should get to that point. They're too stupid to stop.
what we can to bring people together.
Why are there no stupid people in Florida?
Out here too.
justice for the crimes that they commit, we haven't had the cooperation
Think
of the
about it.
state of Minnesota or the city police here under the mayor's direction. If you talk to any of these federal law enforcement officials, they'll say that when they call for backup in a situation, that it's hit and miss. They were grateful today that the police chief and local law enforcement showed up at the scene and helped secure it to make sure that nobody was harmed and that the FBI could do their work. But I would encourage them to work with us, that we could form a partnership that would make sure that
Yeah, I mean, they should work with the department and they should work with ICE in order to ensure the safety of their own people. Because not working with them and then letting ICE do everything by themselves, all that's doing is making it take longer, making it less safe for their own citizens. That's ultimately what's happening, is that it's putting everybody at risk because they're taking all of these half measures and there's no harmony between like the federal government and like the local police, and so it creates a lot of issues. That's
Make
what
way
happens.
for the king of teens.
You need to have real professionals. Yeah, exactly. Like you need to put the lives of the people that are in this area over your politics. I mean, it's undeniable that being able to have all this happen is absolutely a huge problem. It's a massive problem.
individuals have the opportunity to have a safe Minneapolis. Over here.
It's crazy this is even a point.
Ain't
Yeah, I
looking
know.
for a fight, but ain't backing down from one neither.
You know, it's clearly established law that a vehicle driven by a person
30
and
seconds
used to
before you
harm
attack.
someone is a deadly
Get ready.
weapon. Deadly,
Fucking duh. Obviously, if you try to run some, of course.
Weapons, Cation.
force is
That all
perfectly
depends on
lawful
who's dealing
when a
with
threat
us
is
here.
faced by a weapon.
Sure you don't wanna
So I
try
do
something
believe
a
that
little,
this officer used his training in
Yeah.
this situation,
Long
and
as
we'll
I
let
keep
the
my wit
FBI
sharp,
continue the
Gambit will be
investigation
just
to get it
fine.
resolved.
The battle starts in 5.
I know you keep
4,
asking that, but that doesn't
3,
mean that the FBI is going to give you an answer today.
1.
There will be an investigation. We want to make sure that it's factual. What I would ask is that as we go forward from here today, that we all remember that our job
I think
is
it happened after.
discussions. I encourage our local law enforcement and state law enforcement to work with us. We are going to continue to operate here in Minneapolis and in the state of Minnesota to make sure we're going after dangerous criminals. One of the key focuses that we've had here is a focus on individuals who are sexual predators and are involved in child exploitation. And I was just here yesterday. We arrested individuals who were charged with criminal assault and sexual assault and people that exploited children.
Isn't it crazy
Gambit
how
got
they're
your
defending
back.
this? They're ending up on this, and these are the same people that are reeing and crying all the time about the Epstein files. You have miniature Epsteins all around in your own city, and you're going out to protest and protect your miniature Epsteins. For what? They don't care about this at all. They only care about it as a weapon for a value system. That's all they care about.
Why would you want to keep them on your side?
Little Epsteins. Yeah, I'm being honest.
That's exactly what we're doing in Minneapolis by not working with us.
And I know the hypocrisy doesn't really matter that much, but I just want people to see it so it becomes evident that this is, nobody confuses themselves into believing that this is a principles-based movement. There are no principles here. There are no values here. It is simply consolidation of power and the denial of consolidation of power by others. That's it.
The laws and mayor's guy are putting those criminals and prioritizing them over our children. And that's simply not true. He said that to me on the phone too, so I'll give him the documentation that they need so that he knows that we would love him. He doesn't give us that.
Give me any actual data about there being pedophiles protected by sanctuary states. Okay.
Gambit coming
Do
back for
sanctuary states cooperate with the federal government
Now
in
might be a good time to stop them.
giving them information about illegal aliens?
Destroy these unks as soon
We're
as you
gonna
see
do
them.
logic, okay? You're gonna use you're gonna think for yourself, all right? You're gonna get through this, okay? So do they do that or not?
Co-op time.
They arrest people who commit crime regardless of their status. Can I ask you a question? It's a very simple question. Do they cooperate with law enforcement or not? They don't cooperate specifically with ICE. They still arrest criminals and put them in jail. It's a scapegoat to say that they're the only ones who can handle it. You're right. I think that the state government can handle it. So why do you think the state government isn't handling it? And also, why wouldn't they cooperate with ICE? So actually, you know what? Let's take a big picture view of this. Do you agree that ICE should be going in and deporting these illegal aliens? You let the illegals back out of jail? Yeah. Let's go all the way back. Let's zoom all the way out and let's see what you actually think.
Ain't ready for Rogue to be a widow.
You know what you're doing? ICE can deport people if they follow due process, sure. That's not what I asked. Do you think they should be deporting all of the illegal aliens? That's their legal right. Do you think they should be or not? How do you know the state government isn't handling it? Because they're getting arrested. That's the reason why. You're taking a word for it? I'm looking at incentives. So here's another thing that I do. And I think that you should try to think about things from this direction. You should look at decisions and whether something is happening or not based off of incentives. If there is an incentive for something to occur, there is a higher probability that it is occurring. So that's the reason why I think that it's happening, is because there's an incentive for it to happen. And if you follow incentives, you can predict behavior. And I think that almost every single time, you will see that incentives for behavior follows incentives. All you need to do is understand what those incentives are. The data I've seen is a lot of non-criminals getting arrested and deported.
A gift from
Well, there you go, right? I mean, you've created the distinction right there.
Can't keep this
So,
tension down for long.
all criminals... Is anybody who is illegally in the country, by them being here illegally, they're categorically breaking the law, which makes them a criminal. Like, that's... What are you talking about? What are we doing here? You're breaking the law by being here when you're not supposed to be here. You know that, right? It's against the law to do that. We'll get one more comment, then I want to move on, okay? Yeah, but the point is, making your thing, people protecting the racist and I think that they are. I think that by not cooperating with ICE and by letting a lot of these violent criminals out, because you're right that some of them get arrested, but you're also wrong that all of them get arrested. I think a lot of these people get let out regularly. And that's how you have people that are running around with 10 prior arrests, 15 prior arrests. And this isn't something that illegal aliens have a monopoly over. And I'm not saying that it's somehow like really bad if they're doing it and it's good if our people are doing it. You should be on top of it with everybody. But when you have a group of people that should be put in jail or at least removed from the country that you don't have the state government cooperating with, whenever there's already a pattern of letting out violent offenders and repeat criminals, it's only natural that some of those people will be rapists and pedophiles, and they will be child predators, because just based off of the numbers, this is what's happened. They've deported a lot of these people already. Like, you've seen all of the images of these people. Do you think that they made up the person and they made up all the charges? Like, to what degree are they making everything up? So I think to a large degree, that is what's happening. After the state government enables you. I don't understand the prior arrest thing. Well, that's the point, right? Is so if you have somebody with a bunch of prior arrests, see, he's operating under the premise that, and I see what your point is. I think you're wrong. I don't think that they are arresting these people. I think they're letting them go. I do. I think they're letting them go in mass numbers. And I think that this is happening on a completely national scale. It's not happening just like individually, it's happening overall. It's going to the 30s, it's made with entire Mexican families for apartments, make it make sense. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And so, yeah, let me read one more comment, I want to move on. Why not fix our court systems so that letting go to other countries? Well, I mean, because they're not supposed to be here, right? Like, I don't... The court system also... I think that, you know, making the argument for due process makes a lot of... ICE is the only way to handle it. Cops and judges should be reformed to fix that. No, I don't think so. I don't think that somebody should get the full opportunity of due process if they're in the country illegally. If you want my honest opinion, and I think it's a waste of our time and money to do that. The truth is that these people are not citizens. I don't think they're entitled to due process. I think that if they are a non-citizen and they're not supposed to be here, that is the due process. Like, you're not supposed to be here, now you have to leave. That's it. So I don't want to waste our court systems, our court's time, and all of our systems' time trying to micromanage people who shouldn't even be here in the first place. It's a colossal waste of resources and time, and the only reason why people make the appeal to due process is because they want to gum up the entire system to make the system incomprehensible and unsolvable. The reason why they want to add in all of these different appeals and systems and rules and everything is so they can let all of these people in, and then the process to remove them is so it's so controlling and it's so in-depth and involved that it's almost impossible to remove them. That's what's happening. That's the problem. So they let them in with no due process, but they want you to follow 50 different processes to let them go. And they do that in order to create a net positive of those people coming into the country. You're not getting banned. You brought up some good points. I don't agree with that's what's happening. Anyway, let me move on.
Let us know who is detained, does it honor our detainers, and has individuals
I thought he was supposed to figure all this out. Only 60 seconds left.
Laissez le bon temps rouler.
I won't speak to that case right now, but we can get to it.
This is the second time it's happened to him.
But the fact of the matter is he's an experienced officer. He's been in situations like this before, and he certainly has been out there and followed his training today. You know, people need to stop using their vehicles as weapons. This domestic act of terrorism is used to try to kill law enforcement officers. And I'm asking the Department of Justice to
Gotta stop. Base.
clear that it's
Get prosecuted. Yeah. Like, I don't even get prosecuted.
people are being trained and told how to use their vehicles to include law enforcement operations, and then to run over anybody who gets in their way.
That's right.
While they go
Yep.
out there and try to disrupt peace and public safety. And Americans deserve better.
Yep. Have you been good sociopath with this? Someone didn't get killed for doing something stupid. Same with the girl who died on January 6th. Yeah, you don't see me crying about her, do you? Yeah, it's obviously sad somebody got killed, but at the end of the day, if you engage, the difference is that Ashley Babbitt wasn't trying to run somebody over with their car. There was never a situation where Ashley Babbitt posed any form of, like, deadly threat to anybody. Not even remotely close. She was just a random girl inside of the Capitol. And even with her, I don't give a shit about that either that much. Yeah, you go in there, you're not supposed to be there, you get shot, that's what happens. I'm not going out there and
Make
saying
way
there should
for
be a
the
huge
king and
memorial
tees.
for her, right? I thought it was weird yesterday they didn't even mention her name with the people that were killed. But at the same time, I'm not like acting like this is some George Floyd. No, you shouldn't have been there. I'm completely consistent about this. Shouldn't
That
have done
hasn't
it.
been a part of the discussion. I know Governor Walz mentioned
Yep.
some of that earlier in his press conference, but we know we've got law enforcement officers here that will continue to work, and we're hopeful that the public recognizes that the work that we do every day makes America safe again. With that,
Gonna have to play X-Men and Teeth if we
Uh-huh.
want to win this
we
one.
had law enforcement officers that
30
were out there
seconds
doing an
before you
enforcement
attack.
action,
Get ready.
and a vehicle got stuck in the snow, and so they had called for other people
know
to
that
come
look all too
and help
well,
them get
Sheriff.
that vehicle out. Those
Tell me
officers were
what's
trying to free the vehicle when the harassment started, when the protesters were out there impeding their vehicles and preventing them from leaving the scene.
But if we gotta be fighting this fight, at least
I
we
won't
get to do
speak
it
to that.
side by side.
The battle starts in 5,
No, why would they say that?
3,
Yeah.
2, 1.
I will let the FBI decide.
Found me someone to fight.
Well, that's better.
They were returning back to headquarters, I believe, to start a new operation. Had just completed.
This was already done.
Thank you. What's that? I was one of the vehicles that ICE officers were using, but remember, when we operate in a task force model. So we have other federal agencies that work with us, and we're very grateful for that. We have CBP officers, the FBI, DEA, ATF, all of those all work with us every day in a task force model. We appreciate it. We'd love to have the state police, and we'd also love to have the Minneapolis police chief and his team be alongside of us while we're out there doing those enforcement.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes things more unsafe with them not cooperating. It makes it way worse, and it just makes it more unsafe for the people out there. It makes it more unsafe for the officers. It just makes everything worse.
That will get more information as it is revealed, but thank you, and everybody, let's work together to make sure that we can continue to help the city be safer, get more criminals off the streets.
Why people believe that blocking a road to prevent ICE agents from doing their job is legitimate because that's one. If you don't punish people for something, they're going to think that it's okay.
And ensure that our public has the opportunity to pursue the American dream in a city they really chose. Thank you.
With TikTok showing Somali and local police bragging about ignoring ISIS calls, it's probably true, yeah. All right, well, there we go. And so that's the end of it. We'll see what happens, but yeah.
When I was actually walking out here, somebody sent me a photo of a CNN headline about what happened in Minneapolis. The headline was outrage after ICE officer kills U.S. citizen in Minneapolis. Well, that's one way to put it, and that is the way that many people in the corporate media have hit this attack over the last 24 hours. And I say attack very, very intentionally. Because this was an attack on federal law enforcement, this was an attack on law and order, this was an attack on the American people. After my step.
Behold the god of thunder!
Harder than ever. Helping hand.
The way that the media, by and large, has reported this story has been an absolute disgrace, and it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day. What that headline leaves out is the fact that that very ICE officer nearly had his life dragged by a car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg. Do you think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile? What that headline leaves out is that that woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation in the United States of America. What that headline leaves out is that that woman has been part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job. If the media wants to tell the truth, they ought to tell the truth that a group of left-wing radicals have been working tirelessly, sometimes using domestic terror techniques to try to make it impossible for the President of the United States to do what the American people elected to do, which is to enforce our immigration law. The President stands with ICE, I stand with ICE, we stand with all of our law enforcement officers. And part of that is recognizing that you in the media, not everybody in this room, but many people in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to dive with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before. Everybody who's going to keep him alive. This is some innocent woman who's out for a drive in Minneapolis. When a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourself.
The final 10 seconds!
Well, it's all kicking off in the U.S. right now, particularly in the state of Minnesota. And I'm wondering some viewers might find what I'm about to show you a little bit distressing. Earlier today in the suburb of the capital city of Minneapolis, this woman, Renee Hood, was shot while protesting against an Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency action. Now, ICE officials say she tried to ram an agent with a car, but her supporters, including Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, say otherwise, and they are now threatening a standoff with the Trump administration that could see the National Guard mobilized against federal law enforcement. Here to sort it all out is former Trump Chief of Staff and Senior Advisor at Bondi Partners, Mick Mulvaney. Mick, Happy New Year. Good to see you. This shooting is now the absolute top story coming out of the U.S., not just because of what happened, but because of the reaction. Already, protesters are attacking government buildings. Have a look at this. Nick, what's the latest on what's happening here?
Yeah, James, this is a very volatile situation. When the governor of Minnesota referenced the National Guard, what I think folks in Australia have to understand is that the president controls the ICE and other federal agencies, but typically there are exceptions, but governors control generally the National Guard. And if Tim Walz, the Democrat senator of Minnesota, is to call up the National Guard, you could, in theory, and maybe very much in practice, have a situation where there are federal law enforcement and state sort of quasi-military on the ground going against each other under certain circumstances. This is a very, very unusual and, again, volatile situation. It is a tragic sort of occurrence, and it's not really clear yet exactly what happened. It's going to be a long time, I think, before we know who's at fault. There's a lot to sort of go through, a lot of videos to review and so forth, but this is to say it's an incendiary type of situation is an understatement.
And of course, you know, Minneapolis has that long history with this sort of protest. Of course, it's where the George Floyd protest kicked off when George Floyd was killed in 2020. But I'm glad you talked about this standoff here, because Governor Tim Walz, and we know him from the Kamala Harris, Tim Walz campaign, he is really trying to turn this into a standoff with the feds. Have a listen to this.
Donald Trump and Christie know we've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary.
But not only that, Mick, he's also trying to turn this possibly into a national movement. Here's what else he had to say.
If you're in Portland, or you're in LA, or you're in Chicago, or you're wherever they're coming next, stand with us. Stand with us against this.
Look, Mick, this starts to sound, I hate to say it, but a little bit insurrectionary here.
Yeah, again, there's a lot of variables here, a lot of different dynamics at play. Keep in mind, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, and the former Democrat nominee for vice president just announced this week that he will no longer be standing for re-election for governor of Minnesota because of a scandal involving federal fraud in his state to the tunes of billions of dollars. It's hard to imagine a governor not running for re-election because of a fraud scandal. That's just how large that particular issue is, and you cannot help but wonder whether or not Governor Walz is trying to figure out a way to sort of salvage his reputation. You leave the office under the cloud of scandal. What a great way for a progressive Democrat to try and salvage his reputation, to pick a fight with Donald Trump. So there's a lot of other sort of dynamics at play here. Again, that adds to all of the volatility.
Well, yeah, and including that volatility too, I'm seeing reports that there are now organized protest movements, and Antifa may be involved in trying to start some protest actions in Minnesota. It feels like, in possibly trying to distract from his own political troubles and the Democrats' own political troubles, he is really playing with fire here.
He is calling up the National Guard. If he were to do that, again, he's not done it yet. I don't remember that happening in my adult lifetime, in my lifetime, where the federal government wants to do one thing and the governor wants to do the exact opposite, and in order to counterbalance that, brings up the state National Guard. I'm not sure how that even plays out, James. I mean, will the National Guard prevent the federal ICE agents from doing their job? Keep in mind, the federal ICE agents are there to enforce the immigrations and customs rules. That's what ICE stands for, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So that they're enforcing federal law. I don't remember a time in my lifetime when the state guard might be called up to prevent federal agents from enforcing federal law. It's very much sort of a new frontier, because we don't really deal with these kind of things. Come to that. I hope that things are able to calm down over the next couple of days. The DHS Secretary Kristi Noem gave what I thought was a really good press conference today. Her tone was calm and measured, and I think that's exactly what it's called for right now. I think the last thing we need is folks looking to escalate this situation.
Well, on that question of escalation, where do you think this is going to go with the White House? Because I'm sure, Donald Trump has had a pretty good week here with the capture of Nicolas Maduro, with the seizure of that Russian tanker successfully. He's been looking pretty good. He's had quite a number of wins here, but this could throw him off track. Having worked for him, where do you think he is going to take this? Is he going to be up for taking up a fight with Tim Walz and escalating it further?
Oh, sure. I mean, that's what Donald Trump likes to do. He likes to fight with people. He likes to divide and conquer. That's sort of how he's won the two elections that he has won. It's his management style. And keep in mind, what is the administration on the other side of the coin? So we've already talked about Tim Walz and how he's handling this. What is the administration doing? Despite Kristi Noem's excellent press conference today, what was her message? That this was domestic terrorism. Not ICE, by the way, but the protester who was shot to death was engaged in domestic terrorism. I'm not sure that's going to be a very easy thing to sell to the American people. In Charlottesville, when the guy drove his car into a crowd of people trying to kill people, that's domestic terrorism. When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, that's domestic terrorism. I'm not sure an ordinary American would watch these videos and say that this was domestic terrorism. Yes, the woman apparently hit an ICE agent with her car as she was apparently trying to get away. And it seems like at first blush so far that the agent was legally justified in what he did. That being said, I don't think it's going to rise to the level where most people think the woman was engaged in domestic terrorism against federal agents as part of this. So the administration is walking a sort of a fine line as well at the same time.
Vic Mulvaney, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for walking us through it. This is an absolutely fascinating and, as you say, really explosive situation. Vic Mulvaney, thanks so much.
Thanks, Jim.
This is real firepower!
Now, let's see how the media covered the raid on warmonger and serial leaker John Bolton's house, and how they covered the raid on Mar-a-Lago. Here's the ABC's John Cowell. See if you can protect these subjects.
So we see this as an opportunity to again portray himself as the victim. This is classic Donald Trump. He spent most of his presidency portraying himself as a victim of the Russia investigation, and now he's portraying himself as a victim of a runaway and politicized Department of Justice.
Well, we can get to the stunning developments coming into the weekend, with FBI agents swarming around the home and office of former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton. But first, the context. This didn't happen in a vacuum. John Bolton is on a long list of presidents who are now facing the wrath of President Trump and his Justice Department.
Every hoax from Russian collusion to the Biden's people lies in recent years, Afghanistan remains more putting that content together. Let's look at CNN's treatment of the same news. Here's the silence and before and after.
Let's remember that to get a search warrant in any case, whether it's you or I or the former president, you have to go before a federal judge and convince that judge that there is probable cause to believe that a federal crime has been committed and that evidence of that crime is contained within the space you have described in your warrant request. So we have, in this situation, a federal judge who made that determination.
Now, that was the before. That was when Trump's property was raided. All very proper. But when Bolton was raided, well, this is clearly a case of political persecution. He was raided because he criticized the president, CNN claims.
We know that Mr. Bolton has said critical things about the president. That's not illegal. That's not a crime. That's pretty squarely within your First Amendment right in this country. And in fact, you shouldn't be. You're not supposed to be. The Department of Justice and the FBI have all kinds of policies absolutely prohibiting investigating people for the exercise of their First Amendment rights. And so if that's what's going on here, and there's all kinds of reasons to believe that that might be the true motivation.
I wonder what trust in the media has hit record lows. Joining me now for all of this is Sky News
This is real firepower!
I think there are saying has gone from infuriating attitudes towards media, infuriating to irrelevant, really. I think it was tragically laughable at some point along the way. Now it's irrelevant, where nobody's taking them seriously. Their ratings are down, trust is down, audiences are down. But yet, it is like this slow-moving train wreck to watch that, because everybody can do these split-screen before and after moments now in the age of the internet, and they know it, and yet they keep doing it. Maybe they're speaking to a small slice of the audience that doesn't consume that.
They count on their audience not being across that information, so I think so. They're going to get away with it, but that audience is diminishing by the day. Exploding, and this is where these real-time fact checks are happening, and people are seeing who they are. Now let's hear from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard on efforts to root out those within the deep state who think their ideology trumps the Constitution and the law.
There are deep state actors across the federal government.
This is real firepower!
For example, who believe that their actions, their views, are more important than those of elected leaders, duly elected by the American people, like the President of the United States. These are dangerous people because they believe their views and opinions supersede the United States Constitution that they all stand up to oppose, to support, and defend. And that their views and opinions supersede those, again, who are elected by the American people, specifically the President of the United States.
Kosha, Tulsi went on to say she is determined to root out these individuals, but that is going to be a gargantuan task. These agencies, you could argue, have been corrupted by politics for decades.
Sure, it's such a tall order because they have these interests.
This is real
and the system itself deserves it. It's really hard for somebody to come in and challenge anything. But if anybody can, she seems to be somebody who can, and she's meeting the moment. She's tough, she's patriotic, she's a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve. She switched parties and shows that she is principled and willing to go against the grain. She's got a personal vendetta, because she was on the preceding end.
I was about to say, she's a person to I think very clever on Trump to put together a team who had a real personal insight into how bad the bureaucracy has become.
Absolutely. So many of them, the person keeping himself, of course, at the tip of that spear. And that is human nature, that it does give you extra mojo and extra motivation to go after this. So she's trying to do it. She's fired, I think, 40% of the staff, because that's a big part of it. The fewer people you have, the closer they are, and that visibility you have to their motivations. But the clock is ticking. They've got 3.5 years left.
Now let's talk about Donald Trump's Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook over allegations of mortgage fraud. Allegations there is a criminal trial underway, but the media turns to race and gender. The New York Times has an article implying that she's the first black woman to ever serve as federal governor. She may have been appointed by Biden because she's black. Kosha, he was not shy about saying he was making decisions based on identity politics. But it's quite obvious that she's not being sacked because of her gender or her skin colour here.
That old chestnut, they will always go to that, and I think she's finding out that the lady parts and the skin color do not make you impervious to these things when people are going after them. She now makes number 3 of people that are specifically for mortgage fraud in the crosshairs right now. Adam Schiff, the Russiagate original hoaxer, who is probably lawyering up Letitia James.
Which is
the funniest because she charged Trump, very ironic, on that of which she is guilty. He wasn't, and was just acquitted earlier this week from that ridiculous judgment. And Lisa Cook, it adds salt to the wound, especially because as a Fed Reserve governor, she is part of the panel that is in charge of interest rates.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Make way for the King of Thieves.
I mean, game's over for him now.
Tim Walz has dropped out of the race for governor. There is a remarkable pattern hidden beneath the surface of this speech.
This is a decision that I make and make with my family, and certainly I think, as I said, it's the right decision.
How do you come out and give a speech without looking like you're retreating? You make it sound like it's his choice.
I just feel, along with my family, that it's the best decision for Minnesota, and I feel very confident in that. I think it's going to be clear that Minnesotans agree with that.
And it's the fault of his opponents.
This is a concerted effort to try and destroy the president's opponents, to destroy the rule of law.
He has to make it look like he has not done anything wrong, as though he's doing this to be accountable.
And we'll make sure that in this state there's full accountability for everybody. Because buck stops with me. I'm accountable for this.
Not he's being forced out because of accusations of not being.
And because of that accountability, I'm not running for office again.
But he has to make it sound like it's his choice. Like he's better off now than he's ever been.
For Republicans here, I have more energy than I've ever had. I am committed to this state more than I've ever been.
If you could be governor, you would. No, this is actually a winning move.
Have I been perfect in this? God dang no.
It's so cringy. I can feel a physical cringe when I'm watching this.
And I am committed to getting this right. And I will tell you what, if they think now, I mean, the game's over for now.
So the game is not over for Tim Walz. No, the game is over for them, even though he's the one dropping out of the race.
The good news is on this is that I got no election to
He's trying to create the perception that this is actually winning.
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. It ain't happening. I'm not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. There's nothing out of the race.
And you can make all your requests for me to resign overnight for I will fight this thing till the very end.
What are you fighting?
Answer these tough questions.
But watching this speech, I don't know what the tough questions are.
The question I would ask all of you need to ask those people running for governor if they would ask the president to please stop attacking the Hortman children.
Has Trump attacked the Hortman children? Yes, he posted a tweet, but that was directed towards Tim Walz, not the Hortman children. So it's interesting how he's spinning this.
Quit hiding them and expect for the next 11 months for me to ride you like you've never done before.
He's trying to create the illusion as though he's on offense. Still, I'm not sure what he's talking about, who he's talking to.
Well, put up or shut up now. Tell us what you're going to do to make this state better.
In this speech, there is a remarkable pattern that I'm seeing.
Republicans want to tell you everybody with brown skin is stealing money.
Everyone with brown? I don't think so.
Or that they're not welcome here. They want to do nothing.
You can ask these questions about fraud without thinking everyone with a specific skin color is committing fraud. When people describe gaslighting, similar to what I'm seeing here, rather than addressing your weaknesses, you use
the God of Thunder!
You yourself
we have incredible accusations of one Republican representative against another Republican representative that they committed fraud. We have a requirement that the House run an audit, which they did not do. You are the gatekeepers on this.
But it's strange because he's directing this at the press.
I've been in front of you. I'll call him. And I'll watch where the press gets written.
A member of the press asked, what was the tipping point?
What was the one thing that you heard that said,
ain't nobody stealing Gambit's
was that constant drumbeat coming at you, or was it more of a personal?
No, I think it's a personal decision. It's effectiveness. I never took this job to be governor.
And now he's claiming, I never wanted to be governor. He's suffering from bloating and gut health, you probably know as well. Recently, I learned about colostrum, the very first milk the babies receive from their mothers, known as liquid gold, packed with proteins, natural growth factors, and antimicrobial peptides that work in harmony to enhance your immune response and reduce inflammation, while also repairing and balancing your gut lining and reducing bloat. Today's sponsor, Cowboy Colostrum, offers the very highest quality bovine cow colostrum in the U.S. Cowboy Colostrum is 100% made in America Fauci, 100% American grass-fed cows. Among other colostrum brands, colostrum is sourced from the first milking of U.S. grass-fed cows. Cowboy colostrum only collects and serves colostrum after data calves are not milked. They don't overprocess or strip the colostrum like other brands do, leaving full fat, high protein, to ultimate nutrient density, making it the highest quality bovine colostrum you can buy. Easy to drink, made from high quality natural ingredients. Add 3 scoops, whether it's the chocolate, Madagascar, vanilla, or strawberries, which is made with organic freeze-dried strawberries. You just take that and add it into your coffee or smoothie when you're set. Cowboy Colostrum's ingredients will make your skin and hair feel amazing. For a limited time, listeners will get 25% off their entire order. Just head to cowboycolostrum.com/Warren and use code Warren at checkout. That's 25% off when you use code Warren at cowboycolostrum.com/Warren.
I never took this job to be governor. I took this job to pass things like paid family medical leave. I took this job to get our children food.
Make no mistake, I do not think this was Tim Walz's personal decision. He would not be stepping down if he was not being forced to. When he makes this bizarre pivot, all of a sudden, in the same response to suddenly virtue signaling for trans,
On our LGBT community, especially our trans community, say the hell out of Minnesota for the folks who want to hassle those people. These are our neighbors.
Who are you talking to? It's so broad. This is a perfect example of these sound bites that sound like he's saying something. When you actually dig into it, it doesn't mean anything.
That is frickin' evil. And every one of you in this room knows it's evil. And that type of hate and those types of threats that are actionable.
If there are threats that are actionable, you can, by definition, take legal action. I think we all agree, don't make actionable threats.
Judge, jury, executioner!
We've got 2,000 folks. We don't even know who they are. They'll be wearing masks being here in Minnesota.
So you claim we don't want the agents here. In the next breath, you claim if you want to see change, come and help us.
If you want us to fix fraud, come and help us. Come and help us do that.
That's literally why they're sending the agents.
And it's clear. Look, I don't think any government in history has had to fight a war against the federal government.
Well, I've decided personally to step down. And I'm going to go down because I'm in a war with the federal government. It's an interesting strategy. I don't think it's going to be effective. His speech is all over. He's just throwing out sound bites and pivoting. You can just imagine him practicing some of these lines in here.
I'm going to run some more marathons. I'm going to defend my turkey trot title. I told you all that I won my age group in the turkey trot. Look, I got a year of work to do here.
It's just the classic politician trying to be folksy.
Caution, Minnesotans, this is going to worse before it gets better. Oh, everybody here knows.
What is going to get worse? He doesn't really say.
We will be nonpartisan and we'll be fair in this. But that's what the country knows. Just because Donald Trump's in trouble, the Epstein files need to come out. The economy's sinking. We're fighting a war in Venezuela.
To be fair, that's not quite accurate. There was a singular operation. There is potential that it could spiral out of control into a war. But this just happened. How is that relevant?
I would ask if Donald Trump doing the right thing. Do you think
Behold the God of Thunder!
Because if it is, I don't know that I can say that is something. For me, I'm going to do this work.
I'm going to do this work. What work are you talking about?
To be candid with you, what I'm really good at is I'm a really good geographer.
Fair enough. Go do that. And then he just walks out without taking any questions.
Judge me against an average Minnesotan going out to do their job every day and being decent to their neighbors. So thank you all, and we'll be back.
And I'm trying to be objective here and give him a chance. This was a lot of talking without saying really anything, I think.
Another epic victory! Big win!
Great. Well, good afternoon, everybody. And I want to echo some of what Carolyn said about what we're doing to combat the rampant fraud that exists in our immigration system, thanks to failed politicians and thanks to people who allow the American taxpayer to be taken advantage of for far too long. I think it's important to understand why this matters to the American people. I am a father of 3 young kids.
You'll need a top-notch team to
It's
win
learning
this one.
time? Yeah.
Great. Well, good afternoon, everybody. And I want to echo some of what Carolyn said about what we're doing to combat the rampant fraud that exists in our immigration system, thanks to failed politicians and thanks to people who allowed the American taxpayer to be taken advantage of for far too long. I think it's important to understand why this matters to the American people. I am a father of 3 young kids, a lot of kids, a lot of people in my generation. What's that going on there? Is that normal? Okay. CNN installed this broken camera just to throw me off my game. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So here's a simple fact here. If you're a young parent struggling to afford childcare,
what is this sound? Oh my God!
There are programs that we have to make it easier
How you
for
get
your
that
kids
fancy
to
little
get
glowing fisting gizmo to me?
Those
Some sort of
programs
ancient
should go to
artifact?
American citizens, not be defrauded by Somali immigrants and others. Make it
Obviously.
hard for you to get the
Get 'em
access
going
to the
on.
resources
That's
you
a lot
need.
harder to
But number
steal.
2, making it easier for people who shouldn't even be in this country to fleece the United States and our taxpayers to begin with. We have actually activated a major interagency task force to make it possible to get to the heart of this fraud. We have Department of Agriculture resources
never
that are
should have
focused
gotten
on
myself
SNAP
mixed up.
fraud, so that people who need food benefits can get them, but illegal aliens and other fraudsters don't. We have over 1,500 subpoenas the Department of Justice has issued to get to the heart of the fraud ring. We've done almost 100 indictments, mostly Somali immigrants, but also a few others. And of course, we're looking in with broad investigatory authority to a number of the instances of wrongdoing that we've seen in Minneapolis. But we also want to expand this. We know that the fraud isn't just happening in Minneapolis, it's also happening in states like Ohio. It's happening in states like California. And so what we're doing in order to help coordinate this remarkable interagency effort for the Trump administration, but also to make sure that we prosecute the bad guys and do it as swiftly and efficiently as possible, is we are creating a new Assistant Attorney General position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way. I want to thank a couple of people for their cooperation, in particular Pam Bondi, our Attorney General. First of all,
I think obviously they should do this with the fraud. I mean, it's not even a question. I mean, they need to go after this as much as possible. They should probably have multiple positions, multiple departments, an entire area inside of the federal government to just look after fraud. I mean, this is the reason why they had Doge. This is why I supported Doge. It's because this was going on at a mass scale. Anybody, as I said, that's around any illegal alien and low-income communities knows that fraud like this is totally widespread.
A lot of resources from Minneapolis to start to investigate and prosecute this fraud really at an industrial scale. We've never seen fraud like this in the history of our country. Pam has been doing a great job to get the resources there to uncover it, but importantly, creating a job like
Doge didn't work out very well. That's why they need to go after it. I mean, like, in my opinion, I think also Doge did save a good amount of money. It definitely did. So it's not like Doge was useless, but at the same time, you're right that Doge, I think, didn't deliver the results that a lot of people were expecting it to. Now, why did that happen? It's hard to say why, but overall, you know, I would say that, yeah, for sure, I think people expected a lot more. It was restricted, yeah, it was. And I think that now there's much more of a demand for going after fraud like this.
Born again! Sometimes even longer. When we realized Pam got the system up and running in about a week. We're going to make the nomination hopefully in the next few days. We'll obviously let you guys know who that is when we do it. I've talked to Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who has promised me swift confirmation for this official. But this is the person who's going to make sure that we stop defrauding the American people.
Thank God.
Here's one final thing I'll say about this. I've heard a lot of people say that we need a special counsel to investigate fraud in the United States of America. I actually agree, and that's what...
Yeah, that's exactly why you had Doge. Like, that was the entire reason, is that this problem was so big.
Position does. It has all the benefits, all the resources, all the authority of a special counsel, but with two crucial differences. Number one, it will be run out of the White House of me and the President of the United States. And number two, it's actually constitutionally legitimate. As you guys may know, the special counsel statute has some major constitutional questions. When we get the bad guys, we want to make sure we get them permanently and they don't have some legal technicality they can get out of, which is why we set it up as an Associate Attorney General. I'll take some questions, but I want to make just one final observation.
Yeah.
When I was actually walking out here Somebody sent me a photo of a CNN headline about what happened in Minneapolis.
I really gotta say, J.D. Vance has been cooking, man. Like, I mean, the demeanor, the delivery, everything about this. Like, I mean, Trump really, like, I mean, he got in RFK, and does RFK really talk a lot? No, he just goes out there and outlaws food dyes, and that's it. And then he's got Marco Rubio that's running half the world now, and you got J.D. Vance. I mean, he's got Pete Hegseth that just goes fuck around and find out. Welcome to 2026. You know, like, really, I mean, he brought in some big dicks, man. I'm glad to see this. Yeah, this is great.
And this is the headline of This is real firepower in Minneapolis. Well, that's one way to put it. That is the way that many people in the corporate media have put this attack over the last
did.
rounds. When I say attack, very, very intentional. Because this was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. The way that the media...
It's an attack on democracy. People voted to have these ICE removals. They voted for this. It won. It won. This is like one of the main things they voted for was to get rid of the fucking illegals. Like, they're attacking democracy. This is what they wanted.
Yeah, by and large, has reported this story, has been an absolute disgrace, and it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day.
You're welcome. Oh my God. Yes, I want to hear a lot more of this, but I don't want to. The thing is that I like JD a lot. I think JD Vance is great, but at the same time, what makes me mad is that, bro,
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Can't we do a little bit more talk, right? Can't we do just a little bit more?
That headline leaves out is the fact that that very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, dragged by a car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg. You think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile? What that could be?
Oh, fuck, not again! Shit!
Cosmic light returns.
Think about it! Really think, fuck!
That headline leaves out is that woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation in the United States. That headline leaves out.
This is real firepower!
Part of a broader left-wing effort to attack, to dock.
Doesn't this bitch have a job? Like, really? Like, I mean, how is it that all these hosts just have all this time to run around and cause trouble?
Don't mind me.
I mean, like, don't you think they had something better to do? Like, what the fuck? Really? Like, damn, like, you ain't got something that was her job? She's getting paid? I gotta figure that out.
To assault and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job. If the media wants to tell the truth, they ought to tell the truth that a group of left-wing radicals have been working tirelessly, sometimes using domestic terror techniques to try to make it impossible.
I mean, organizing and conspiring to disrupt and, you know, like basically damage and stop federal investigations is against the law, bro. Like, why aren't you going out and arresting them? If you know they're in these group chats and you know they're doing this, why aren't they getting arrested?
You're ready for it.
That's what's crazy.
The President of the United States to do what the American people elected him to do, which is enforce our immigration law.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
We stand with all of our law enforcement officers. And part of that is recognizing that you people in the media, not everybody in this room, many people in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before, and everybody who's been repeating the lie.
Yeah, this is the guy right here. Take a look at this. This is the same guy.